You are listening to The Forest's Last Hope. Book 3 of 7 in the Iron Rule collection. Akumah Audiobooks. Chapter 3, Whispers in the Shadows. The forest, once a place of solace, now hummed with a strange energy. It was as if the very trees were holding their breath, their ancient power steering beneath the bark. Talia, drawn by an unseen force, sought solace in the heartwood's embrace. As her fingers touched the rough bark, a surge of energy pulsed through her, a comforting warmth spreading through her veins. The heartwood, a silent sentinel, seemed to acknowledge her presence, its ancient wisdom echoing in her mind. "You must learn to harness your power, child," a voice, soft yet profound, whispered. "The fate of the forest, and perhaps the world, rests in your hands." Talia closed her eyes, her mind racing. She knew she had to be stronger, wiser. She had to learn to control the magic within her, to protect the heartwood and the village from Garen's malevolent influence. "You must be stronger," the voice of the forest whispered in her mind, barely audible but clear enough to send a shiver down her spine. Talia sighed, pressing her forehead against the tree. "But how?" she whispered back. "I don't know how to control the magic inside me." The forest remained silent, offering no more answers. Talia's frustration built inside her. The burden of being the guardian was more than she could handle alone. And worse, she didn't know who to trust. Sarah had helped her understand the importance of the heartwood, but she didn't have the power to teach Talia how to control her newfound abilities. The villagers, many of them, seemed to be falling under Garen's spell of persuasion. They were already beginning to doubt the old ways, doubting the forest's magic. Talia had never felt more alone. As she stood there, a sudden rustle in the underbrush snapped her out of her thoughts. She spun around, her heart pounding, and saw movement in the shadows. The hairs on the back of her neck stood up. "Who's there?" she called, her voice trembling slightly. A figure emerged from the shadows, a young man with a lean frame and piercing eyes. His voice, soft and reassuring, cut through the night. "Don't be afraid," he said, his hands raised in a peaceful gesture. "I mean no harm." Talia, her heart pounding, stepped back. "Don't be afraid," he said softly, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "I'm not here to hurt you." Talia narrowed her eyes, taking a step back. "Who are you? And why are you sneaking around the forest in the middle of the night?" The young man paused, his expression unreadable. "My name is Sonu. Well, let's just say I've been watching you." Talia's heartbeat quickened. "Watching me? Why?" "I've been keeping an eye on things in Pine Hollow," Sonu explained, glancing around the clearing. "I know about Garen. And I know about Heartwood." His gaze shifted to the shimmering tree behind her. "I know you're the guardian." Talia felt a jolt of surprise. "How do you know that?" "I've been tracking Garen for a long time," Sonu said, his voice grave. "I'm not from these parts. I've seen the devastation he's capable of in other lands. He's a threat, Talia, a far greater threat than you can imagine." Talia, her mind reeling, stared at him. Garen's past actions, his ambitions to seize power beyond Pine Hollow, filled her with dread. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked, her voice cautious. Sonu stepped closer, his gaze intense. "You need help. You can't face Garen alone, not with his dark magic. If he controls the heartwood, it will unleash chaos, not just in the forest, but across the land." Talia hesitated, a flicker of hope and doubt warring within her. Sonu's words, while unsettling, offered a glimmer of hope. Yet, his intensity made her wary. "Why do you care about the heartwood?" she asked, her voice sharp. Sonu's expression turned somber. "My reasons are complex, but our goal is the same, to protect the heartwood. Together, we might stand a chance." Talia weighed her options. Sonu was a stranger, yet he possessed knowledge she desperately needed. Trusting him was a risk, but the stakes were too high to ignore. Perhaps, together, they could defeat Garen and safeguard the future of the forest, and the village. "Very well," she agreed, a flicker of determination in her eyes. But you must tell me everything you know about Garen. I need to understand the true extent of the threat we face. Sonu nodded solemnly. Garen's power is growing, and I fear he's planning something significant. We must act swiftly. Talia's heart sank. The first pinch of true danger settled in her chest. It wasn't just a matter of waiting for Garen to make a move. He was already planning something, and time was running out. They sat by the crackling fire, the flickering light casting eerie shadows on their faces. Sonu, his eyes distant, began to speak. Garen wasn't always like this. Once, he was just an ordinary man, living a simple life. But then, he stumbled upon a dark power, a corrupting force that twisted his soul. It gave him power, but at a terrible cost. He's been traveling from village to village, using his newfound power to manipulate and control. Talia's heart pounded. Why does he want the Heartwood? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. The Heartwood, Sonu explained, is a wellspring of ancient, pure magic. It's a power source beyond imagination. If Garen controls it, he'll become unstoppable. The Heartwood's energy will amplify his dark magic, making him a force of unimaginable evil. Talia shuddered. But why would he destroy the forest? She asked, her voice filled with disbelief. Sonu's eyes held a grim determination. Garen cares nothing for the balance of nature. To him, magic is a tool, a means to an end. He sees no value in the forest, in the life it sustains. All he desires is power, and he will destroy anything that stands in his way. Talia's anger burned hot. The thought of Garen corrupting the Heartwood's power filled her with rage. She wouldn't let him. We must stop him, she declared, her voice resolute. Sonu nodded, his gaze unwavering. We must act swiftly. Garen is nearing the completion of a ritual that will bind the Heartwood's power to his own. Once he succeeds, it will be too late. Talia's heart pounded with dread. What must we do? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. We must sever his connection to the source of his dark power, Sonu explained. Weaken him, make him vulnerable. But it won't be easy. Garen is surrounded by followers, loyal to his cause. And his ritual is heavily guarded. Talia's heart pounded in her chest. The stakes were higher than she had ever imagined. Garen was a threat not just to the forest, but to the very fabric of reality. She couldn't allow him to succeed. We'll stop him, she vowed, her voice unwavering. No matter the cost. Sonu's expression was a mix of admiration and concern. You'll need to be cautious, Talia. Garen's magic is powerful and dangerous. The closer we get to him, the greater the risk. Talia nodded, her determination resolute. I'm ready. Yet, as she gazed into the flickering flames, a wave of doubt washed over her. The path ahead was perilous, filled with unknown dangers. She was unprepared, a mere mortal facing a force of unimaginable darkness. Akumah Audiobooks. You have reached to the end of the chapter. Click next, and continue listening to The Forest's Last Hope. This story consists of 7 chapters as such 7 videos. Consider subscribing for more epic tales by Akumah Audiobooks, and refer to channel playlist for better experience. Have a nice day.